Okay, boys and girls. So today in math, we are working on lesson 1.6. We're going to learn how to count and write 5 with words and numbers.
Hi there! I have lots of friends who live at the zoo, and they each have their own place to live. Click the windmill to see some of the animal pens. Hey, let's put numbers on my friends' pens. Then we can tell them apart. Click the first pen to get started. All right, this pen gets the number 1. And this pen gets the number 2. And these pens get the numbers 3 and 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Each pen has a number and a word. But how can we show the next number and word? First, we need to learn about counting and writing a number. Let's go find out.
Are you ready to practice counting and learn what the number 5 looks like? Let's count together. Select this counter to start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 counters. Now let's look at 2 ways you might see the number 5 written. First, click the counters to see what 5 looks like as a number. This is what 5 looks like when it's written as a number. Next, let's see what 5 looks like when it's written as a word. This is the word 5. Try spelling it. F, I, V, E, 5. You're going to practice finding sets of 5. But first, click the 5 to see what a set of 5 looks like. Now count the birds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 birds in this set. Now the tree is filled with birds. How many more sets of 5 can you find? Select each set of 5.
So looking at the illustration that they provided us, boys and girls, there's different groups of birds. So we have to look at each set of birds and we have to count them. If they are a group of 5, we're going to click on it. If it does not have a group of 5, we're going to simply leave it alone. So we're going to look at this group here that I have highlighted in yellow. Ms. Kasha is going to count out loud. 1, 2. I didn't count 5. I only counted 2. So I'm not going to click that set of birds. Let me try this set up top here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last number I counted was 5. So that is where I have a group of 5. So I will definitely click on that group.
That's right. That's a set of 5 birds. Do you see any more?
Now I'm not going to stop there because I still did not count these last 2 groups of birds. So let me count this set of birds down here below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last number I counted was 6, but I need 5. So I'm not going to click on that group because I counted 6. This is going to be the last group of birds that I count that are on the tree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last number that I counted for that set of birds was 5, so I am going to click on that group of birds.
Great job! You found all the sets with 5 birds. That's great counting.
All right, so now we're going to look at our math books. We're working from page, let's see what page this is, 43. So page 43, today's lesson is lesson 1.6. So today we're learning how to count and write up to the number 5 with words and numbers. So first they give us red cubes. Just like we did yesterday, boys and girls, we are going to count and label these cubes to see how many we have. So when we label in math, we're going to use numbers. So I'm going to go to the smartboard, I'm going to count out loud, and I'm going to label to see how many red cubes I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last cube that I counted was the number 5. So I have 5 red cubes. Now Ms. Castro is going to trace the number 5. I'm going to start at the blue dot. I'm going to go down and around, pick up my pencil. I'm going to go back to the blue dot and go across. That is the way you form the number 5, boys and girls, and they would like for you to please trace that number 5 all the way across until you get to the very end.
That's ugly 5, Miss Castro.
All right, we're going to move on to the bottom of the page. This time, they want us to count and label the red apples, the fruit. So,
No.
I'm going to show you how I count and label the red apples, and then we're going to have to trace the word and then practice tracing the number 5 again at the bottom. So, let's count and label the apples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last red apple that I counted was 5. So I have 5 red apples. So now I'm going to trace the word 5, and that's spelled with the letters F, I, V, E. Now down below, I'm going to trace the number 5 all the way across until I get to the very end. Again, start at the blue dot, go down, around, pick up your pencil, go back to the blue dot, and then go across. And that, boys and girls, is how you form the number 5. The number 5 could sometimes be a little bit tricky. So if you're making a mistake, it's okay. All you got to do is simply erase it and try again. Don't ever get frustrated, boys and girls, because we're here to make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes because we're going to learn from those mistakes, okay? So I'll give everyone 1 minute to finish this page, and then we're going to move on to the next pages. Okay, moving on to the next page. Now we are on page 44. Up at the top is a bush of apples, and we're going to count and label those apples, and then we're going to practice tracing the number again. So, I'm going to be at the smartboard, and I'm going to start counting and labeling the red apples up at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the last number that I counted for the apple, so I have 5 red apples. Now I'm going to practice tracing the number 5 all the way across. All right, now we're going to look down below at the apple tree. Now, the apple tree has different sets of apples. So there's different groups of apples that we have to count. We're not going to count all of them at the same time. We're going to pay attention to how they're being grouped. So I'm going to start with these group of apples to my left. I'm going to count and label those apples. If I have 5 apples, I will circle that group. If I do not have 5 apples in a group, then I will leave it alone. So let's start by counting that first set of apples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I counted 5 red apples, so there I have 5. I'm going to make a big circle around that group because I have 5 apples in that group. Now I'm going to count and label the group of apples that are up at the top of the tree, more to the right. Let me count and label. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 was the last number that I counted. Do I have 5 there? No, I do not, because the last number that I counted was 4. So I am going to leave that group of apples alone. I'm not going to do anything to those apples. Now I'm going to go to the group of apples that are in the middle of the tree. In the middle. 1, 2, 3. The last number I counted was 3. I need a group of 5 apples. I do not have 5 apples there, so I'm going to leave that group of 3 apples alone. Dominic, thank you for raising your hand. I know you want to share something, but I have to get through this math lesson because time is running out for us. So please try to remember what you're going to say, and you'll share it with us after we're done with math, okay? Thank you, my dear. All right, let's go down to the bottom of the tree, and we're going to count that group of apples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last number that I counted there, boys and girls, was 5. So I am going to circle that group of apples since I have 5 apples. Now I have one last set of apples that I need to count. It's the group that's to the right of the tree. So let's do that group now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I counted 5, boys and girls, so I have to circle that group of apples since I have 5 apples there. Okay, now we're on to the next page. We're going to go to the green leaf with the number 3. We're going to count and label those apples. Now, even though today we're learning how to write the number 5 with words and numbers, not all of the apples on this page will have 5, just like how we saw on the apple tree. It might have less. That means it might have a smaller number. So that's why we have to make sure we count and label all the apples the right way. So let's start with the green leaf with the number 3. Those apples there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last number I counted was 5. So on the line, boys and girls, I'm going to show that I have 5 problem, number 4 with the blue flower. We're gonna count and label those apples, and then we're gonna see how many we have in that group. I'll be done in like 5 minutes right now. Sorry. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is the last number that I counted. So Miss Castro is gonna write the number 4 on the line. All right, we're gonna go down to the butterfly that's purple with the number 5. Let's count and label those apples there to see how many we have. 1, 2, 3. The last number that I counted was 3, so the number that I put on the line is the number 3. And then we have one last problem. We're gonna look at the brown acorn with the number 6. Let's count and label those apples there to see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the last number that I counted. So on the line, Ms. Castro will write the number 5. Okay? If you're still working on any of the problems, don't worry, take your time. I just wanted to make sure that I got through today's lesson. In case you needed to go back and watch the video, you have the information there, okay? And like I said, boys and girls, don't get frustrated if you cannot form the numbers correctly. This is the 6th day that we're working on our math books. So far, you guys are doing a pretty amazing job. I've seen it in your Google Classroom assignments. I've been checking them every day. So like I said before, always go back to the work that you submit to Ms. Castro and check to see what feedback, what words I put down for you so you could see what you could do to make your work better. Okay? So let me share with you your Google Classroom so you can see what today's math assignments are. On your Google Classroom, once you log in, on the main screen at the top to your left, the attendance is due today. Then you have lesson 1.6, that's math, which we're doing now. And then the lowercase o, day 1 is what's due today. So lesson 1.6, I'm gonna click on that. And I will show you the work that you will find on the next 2 pages. For your math books, you're gonna work on pages 47 and 48. So boys and girls, do the same thing that I've been showing you. Count and label with numbers the objects that you are being given. And then whatever the last number is that you count, that's the number that you write on the line. Okay, and then you have this too. If for some reason you don't have the math book, you will be working on pages 1-33 and 1-34. So if you do have the math book and you want extra practice, feel free to do these 2 pages as well. If you do not have the math book, then you would work on these 2 pages. Okay? All right, boys and girls, so that's it for math. I'm very proud of you all. We'll continue with tomorrow's math lesson tomorrow.